You want to see Grandpa? Come on, Slowpoke. I'll take you to my grandpa.
It's Trials of Mana. Holy. It's alright. If y'all ask Uncle Red what his favorite era in all of video games was, I'd tell you it was the Super Nintendo era, guys. Games were new and everyone was developing all these creative, crazy stuff, but even though there were limited colors, the storage on those cartridges weren't too much, and the sound, guys, oh my god. Well, let's just say,
good luck.
But even with the technical limitations, guys, it doesn't even matter, because the developers of that era, guys, have made games that withstood the test of time by making such great classics that even the developers now, oh my god, the indie game developers are making games with similar mechanics to the old ones as homages to the games they grew up with, thinking that they can do better. Arrogant dicks. So this is a masterpiece. And then there's Squaresoft. In the era where there were no established templates of how to make games, Square created something out of nothing. They made a whole genre, told really bonkers stories, and made quality game mechanics that revolved around those stories, man. Yeah, it didn't all pan out perfectly, but they made so many bangers in goodwill that there will always be fans of any of their series, no matter how obscure. One of those series is the Mana series. Now, if you'll search top 10 Super Nintendo RPGs, you'll probably see Secret of Mana out there somewhere. But there was one other game from the Mana franchise that not everyone got to play. A game from the franchise that didn't get released in the West. A game lost to the annals of time. It's Trials of Mana, guys. Come on. Up until recently, Trials of Mana was a pretty obscure game because it never really released in English, but it was so good for its time that Square decided to release the game twice in the form of English translation in the Mana collection, plus a full-fledged remake, which we'll be talking about right now. So I gotta tell you guys, Seiken Densetsu 3, one of my favorite games from that era. It had such unique gameplay, and when I saw that it was being remade to PC and consoles, I lost my mind, dudes. Finally, people can get to experience what I've played 20 years back, and now with a new, fresh coat of paint. It's gonna be so much better. Wait, it's a remake, right? Oh god, what if they do it wrong? Will it even be as good as I remember it? Short answer, yes. Long answer. Trials of Mana is an action RPG. No waiting around, waiting for something to happen. It's right there, press a button, whack things. Now, the game lets you play as 6 characters. You choose one main character and 2 characters who you'll meet along the way, and you'll have a party. You'll meet Midriff Swordsman, Sexy Sorceress. Wait a minute, did I say that right? Sexy Sorceress. Trunks from Dragon Ball, Zelda's sister, I think, Furry, and a little girl. My favorite character in this bunch is the little girl, Charlotte. Everything about this character is really funny. She has this dumbass walk, and she has a verbal tick that's really cute, at the same time really funny, and she has one of the more slapsticky scenes in the game.
Wow! I'm see-through!
Each of these characters have their own story, and depending on who you choose as your 3 characters will greatly affect a lot of the game. You'll have 3 different storylines, dialogue, dungeons, bosses, and final bosses depending on who you choose as your starting character. The story in this game is very 90s, but if you know what that means and you don't mind that at all, then you will love this game. It's a very well thought out story from start to finish. You know, a big bad trying to destroy the world, and 6 heroes of pure hearts. Well, 5.5. Jeez, Angela, stop. Now, the story isn't as deep as the grand epics of these days, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's simple, but it weaves these little conflicts together that affects all characters in some way. Now, this guy's mom is trying to conquer the world because it's the only way to save her kingdom. So she invades this kingdom, which this guy is a part of, and things like that just ties the whole world together. The characters are written pretty well and have a lot of personality. However, I can't really say that about the world because, god damn it, it left me underwhelmed. The world isn't as fleshed out as we want it to be compared to modern standards. You move in such a straight line with these markers being set on the mini-map for the next thing to do. It's like, if you're not gonna let me explore, why even put NPCs around me, man? I think they made the town as flavorless and lame as possible so you can book the heck out of there and just move on to the cool parts where you battle stuff. See, you walk into a town and the towns feel so dry because the NPCs are straight up pulled from the 90s with their stunted ass, robot ass JRPG dialogue. It's so boring, you just want to get out of there. Basement Forest is home to the basement of Feronia. They're quite hostile. Oh, shut up. You can think of it one way. The developers went out of their way to copy the spirit and the stunted dialogue of the 90s game. But then again, you can also be disappointed at how exactly they copied it, to the point that there's really no expansion of the world, no side quests, no more dynamic dialogue system. It just feels like they could have done more in terms of world building, especially for this momentous game in the franchise. You know, they're remaking it for the modern crowd. They could have done something better, but I don't know. Maybe they ran out of budget, I guess. Now, if you ask me, they ran out of budget animating that whole Angela scene. Jeez, God, Angela, stop! NPCs are repetitive as hell, though. Get out of here with dancing beardo weirdo. If you're gonna repeat yourself, at least be cute like Nurse Joy or Officer Jenny or something. Despite all this stuff I'm saying about the towns and the NPCs are really just a minor concern, because the game is really more about the combat, going around dungeons, areas, and the bosses. And how does that play? It's fucking glorious, dudes. As all RPGs go, you start off barely able to do anything. You go around hitting rabbits, bees, and teapots, but over time you get all these cool powers from weirdo spirits. That one's Kinkai, that one's a fireball, what the Combat is very modern action RPG. You have your light attacks, heavy attacks, dodges, spells, supplemented by learning skills, buying items, and combos you gain throughout your journey. You'll also be able to change your class, gaining access to exclusive abilities only for that specific class as you go forward. And you have 8 class changes? Man, that's a lot. Hold up, did that dude just die of a heart attack mid-battle? And now for my final form! Oh, it's just clothes. Honestly, this blew my mind in the 90s. Class changing, different branching storylines with multiple character perspectives. It was something I've never seen done in a game before, and it really colored what I came to expect from games moving forward. But okay, you have your moves, but really, action games are only half as fun as the stuff you fight. And how does that play? Well, fodder-wise, it has one of the lamest fodder monsters ever. freaking mushrooms and rabbits. Holy moly, really? They do mix it up a bit in the later portions by mixing in zombies, ninjas, knights, clowns. Despite having weak-looking fodder monsters, the bosses in this game make the game so much better. There are so many bosses in this game, man, each more fun and unique than the next. They're gigantic, and all of them are different. A lot of them have this unique set of conditions to beat them. Heck, there was even a point where you would be fighting almost a new boss every 30 minutes. Trust me on this, you may not like hitting fodder monsters for a few minutes, but it'll all be worth it when you get to that sweet, sweet, sweet big ass boss. And the AI in this game is so good, man. You have 2 other characters that you control with you. You know the other games where you play as a guy fighting with AI controlled guys, you get destroyed by a monster while the idiots stand around doing nothing. The AI in this game is really responsive. They see you in trouble and they're gonna come help you with what you need, you know, give you a healing or just give you supportive spells. No complaints whatsoever with the AI. Thankfully, you can swap out to different characters on command if you need that character specific move for a situation like buffs or healing. And visually, this game is aesthetically pleasing. The character design and the art style and the world is just right for this remake. It's the right amount of colorful that matches the original, right amount of cute, and it's not full on anime either, so if you're not a fan of that style, you won't necessarily be put off by this particular art style at all. Lastly, I want to talk about how it holds up to the original. Frankly, it does hold up so well that there's really nothing to complain about, except that they should have expanded the world instead of just making it a one-to-one copy of the 90s game, from the stunted dialogue to the linearness of everything. Now, Square Enix did in fact release another remake on that same month of a classic RPG that went way outside of bounds from the original game, and fans did not receive it lightly because of how much they twisted the story from that one. So who knows how it would have turned out if Trials of Mana just did its own thing and made another game that just didn't even copy the source material. So who knows what could have happened, really. In my humble opinion, this was a very well done remake. The new look is exactly what I expected it to be. It's not over the top, over realistic. It's just as stylized as the classic one, and the battle system is just upgraded and modernized, and it's just really well done. However, I would have liked a few more features and a few more upgrades to this game. It feels like they just ran out of budget and just settled for making it look and feel like the old game, but in an upgraded sense. You know, I would have wished for expansion of the world, but that's just me asking for more bells and whistles to play with just because I really like this game. Now, as a remake, I really like this game as a remake, but in comparison to modern games, modern standards, I think the linearity will put people off, especially those who are looking for a more open experience as newer JRPGs do. But if you're okay with the linearity of it all, then this game will satisfy you just right, especially with the battle mechanics. Also, having played the original multiple times and finishing this one, I feel a bit of jadedness, you know what I mean? Like, when I played this game so long ago, it was probably one of the best games I've played in my life. But growing up some more, I played more video games, watched movies, and read some books. And I have to say that while it's still an enjoyable game, its story, it's somewhat simple. But there's still something really pure and innocent about a story about 3 heroes of pure good and Angela fighting evil. Sometimes that's all you need, man. Even if it lacked the twists and turns in the story, you know, sometimes you just need that little tale of good triumphing over evil. If you're looking for something with a lot of depth and complexity in your JRPG, maybe try Xenoblade or Shin Megami. But if you're looking for a good-spirited, light-hearted tale, then this is it. It's a fun, colorful action adventure with lots of replay value. You can mix and match your party and your stories. The world may seem flat, but you'll find the characters and their adventures still charming. Even if you're quite the jaded person, the battle system and freaking bosses are still killer. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and clocked in at a solid 24 hours for me for one playthrough with 3 characters. So you owe it to yourself to play it at least once and let the experience dictate your further playthrough. It normally goes on sale, so if you're hesitant, pick it up when it is. I played it on the Nintendo Switch, however it's also available in all the other major platforms. Frame rate, graphical fidelity, special effects are a little bit lesser on the Nintendo Switch version, but most of my gameplay footage are taken from my own playthrough on the Switch. So you can take a look at that and decide for yourself whether or not you're going to take better graphics or portability in this case. And with that being said, we're at the end of the video, so thanks for watching, guys. I am really happy that I got to sit down and talk about games that I like and that you should try out. So I'm hoping you're down for this, and please do stay tuned because I do have a lot more games to talk about to get y'all to try out too. So look forward to that one. If you haven't subbed, please do. We're trying to grow this channel. We're gonna make more videos, and especially in the coming years. So if you are down with that, I'd really appreciate a sub. I hope to see you guys soon in some way or another in the next video or stream or whatever. So see y'all on the next Red Time. Peace.